Hi everybody, this is Denise with PurplePaperParadise.com, and today I'm going to use Make the Cut with the eCraft plugin to show you how you can cut from scraps with this software. So right now I've got an SVG that I was working with in my previous video, and you see that I have it all split up into various colors, and every single color is shown right now on the mat. And there's really two different ways that we can cut from scraps, and I'm going to show you both of those ways here today. The first is going to use less paper, but it's probably going to take more time. So we're going to go ahead and do that first with one color so you can see what that is all about, and then I'll show you how you can cut roughly about 4 colors in one pass. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and hide all of my layers because I don't want everything to cut, and I'm actually going to unhide this layer, which are the black eyeballs of the lion, and we're going to cut that first from our scraps. So here we go. So since we had the black eyeballs were down in the lower right hand corner of the screen, we want to make sure that we have our black paper in the lower right hand corner. And I'm using a piece of cardstock stabilizer here, and I'm just going to go ahead and feed in both pieces of the paper, and I'm going to make sure to keep this black in that lower right hand corner. And you just need to make sure that your blade trolley is lined up to the bottom edge of the paper. You don't need to worry about which corner it's in or anything like that. And we're going to go ahead and cut this out. And I have the front mode selected in the eCraft plugin, and we'll hit start. Now, one of the things that I've noticed with this beta version of Make the Cut is that the screen seems to be a little bit shifted compared to how it cuts, meaning that this side is going to have more of a margin left over from when you cut than the other side. And I had something that I was playing around with, and I had it pretty close over to that left hand side, and it actually got cut off. And if you see here, I had these eyeballs lined up to about the 1 inch mark, and this is definitely more than 1 inch. It's probably about 1.5 inches over. So that's why you kind of want to be a little bit careful when you're using scraps and lining things up correctly. So those are the eyeballs, and now let's go ahead and show you how you can cut out the other 4 colors of this SVG file. Okay, so now that we have cut 1 color at a time, I want to show you how you can cut up to 4 colors at a time. And I'm saying up to 4 colors. You probably could do this method with more than 4, but I think 4 colors is a safe way to cut everything right now. So I'm going to hide those black eyeballs again, and I'm going to unhide my other colors. Now, as you notice, I have in the center of each of the quadrants on the mat, I have 1 color of the layer. And we're going to refer back to this screen as we're setting up to cut in the eCraft with these 4 colors. So I just want to get you familiar with what this looks like so that when we get things set up here, it'll make a little bit more sense to you. Okay, so to cut up to 4 colors at a time, what we have to do is we have to create something that's similar to a mat, but it's actually going to be our cardstock stabilizer for the eCraft. So I have a piece of craft cardstock here, and what I did was I took it into my score panel and I scored it at 6 inches going both ways, so I've created my 4 quadrants just like I have on my screen in Make the Cut. And I also took some scraps that I had on my scrap drawer and just cut them down to roughly 6 by 6. And I'm going to use some removable adhesive. This is Tombow, and we're just going to put this down with a little bit of removable adhesive along the 4 sides in each of the quadrants. So this here is my orange, And then I have a cream color here. And you could use like a temporary spray adhesive too for this. I actually was kind of experimenting a little bit with some quilting basting spray, and I think that would actually work really well too. But for the video I decided to show you this way because most likely everybody has some sort of removable tape adhesive in their collection. But you definitely want to get all four sides, because what we want is we want to have the tray pull this out without lifting up any of these pieces of paper when it goes through the rollers. So, and I'm just basically recreating the mat on the screen. Now this one is a little bit small, but I'm going to go ahead and put it right about in the center there. Okay, so now that we've created our mat, we're going to go ahead and move over to the eCraft and get this cut out. Okay, so now I'm at my eCraft machine, and I've got my pseudo mat here set up, and it's actually just my cardstock stabilizer. And you can see when you have that adhesive along the bottom there that it does give you a nice tight fit, so hopefully we shouldn't have any problems getting the tray to pick this up. But I want to make sure this white was my top quadrant. I want to make sure that I'm lining it up correctly when I put it into the machine. So we're going to go ahead and select cut here, and I need to select tray mode for this and start. So now you're going to see that it's going to load in this little mat. Uh-oh. Seem to have a little bit of trouble there, but that's why I usually just kind of put my hand back there, so if I need to give it a little nudge, I can. And it's starting to cut out my pieces. It just cut out the little inside piece of the lion's nose in the orange, and now it looks like it's going to cut out the little inside pieces of the white eyeballs. And now it's cutting the inside pieces out of the face part of the layer. Make the cut is always going to cut out the inside pieces before it cuts out the outside pieces, and that's a great thing for the eCraft, because especially if you're using a cardstock stabilizer and it cuts out the outside piece and then goes back to trying to do an inside piece, so you're much more likely to get the paper to shift around. I think it would be a disaster actually if it worked the other way. And since it looks like this is going to take a little while, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video here so we don't have to sit here and watch every single step of this. Okay, so we're all done now, and I'm going to go ahead and unload this. And you can see here how the piece is cut out. And they just pop right off because the removable adhesive is only around the edges. So, and it looks like I didn't have quite enough orange down here, and that's because of that margin thing I was mentioning earlier, where it tends to put too much of a margin over here. And on the screen, the edge of this is at about the 5.5 inch mark, so I was hoping I would have enough, but not quite. But that's okay. I can always recut that, no big deal. So, and we've got our other pieces here too, so I'm going to go ahead and put this little guy together. I'll have to recut those orange pieces, and show you how cute this looks. Alright, and that's it for cutting your scraps using Make the Cut. Thank you.